Hello everybody, welcome to the Generic Cappy YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. I am Generic Cappy, and just a handful of hours ago, the June 2023 General Nintendo Direct aired all over the internet. So we saw a bunch of different announcements and a bunch of news on games that we already knew about. And so in this video, I wanted to talk about, some of the announcements. I already uploaded my reaction to it. And this is why I like doing these types of videos, because it gives me a little bit of time away from my reaction, because unlike a lot of other people's reactions, I don't have a face cam or anything, so I know a lot of my excitement doesn't really come through when I'm talking, reacting to the stuff. But these videos, they allow me to, be a little bit more not in the moment. I can like explain, some of my thoughts on everything, and not in a rush sense, because we're getting so much stuff at once. This direct was so good, and I enjoyed it so much. There was so many amazing announcements in this direct. Obviously, I know there's probably some varying opinions about the direct, because if you're not a Mario fan or a fan of the Mario, series characters, this direct probably wasn't as good to you. It just depends, I guess, on your personal interests, because this direct did have a lot of Mario games. It in many ways, it was probably like a Mario Direct Mini in a sense. There was like a Mario Direct of sort in this Direct itself. But we also got news on Pokemon, which is pretty surprising, because I personally did not expect to see Pokemon in this Direct, as well as Pikmin. And so I just wanted to do this video just to talk through a lot of the announcements. This video will focus mostly on the first party announcements, because when it comes to Nintendo and Nintendo Directs, that is where a lot of the focus and excitement comes from within these Directs. Just hearing about more Nintendo games, or hearing extra news on some Nintendo games. And so obviously, and then for me, as a Nintendo fan, and as Nintendo is my preferred choice to play my video games, a lot of first party games are things that spoke to me as, again, a Nintendo fan. So I just wanted to do this video just to talk through a lot of those things. I'll try my best to go in order of the announcements, but some things probably are better grouped together, because some series are grouped together. Nintendo Direct even grouped some stuff together. So I will start off with what the Direct began with, and that is the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, otherwise known as the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero. We saw a trailer that featured both of the DLC packs, which is really cool. We didn't see too much of everything. We saw some returning Pokemon that will be added to the game. The Pokemon Twitter, from what I saw, the main thing that they brought up from that was that I think Gligar is in one of the games, and then Aipom is in the other game. Showing that some obviously there's returning Pokemon coming with the DLCs. And then we saw a couple of the new Pokemon in game. Before we obviously knew a little bit, based on the Pokemon Presents, we already knew some of these Pokemon, but we weren't able to see them in game. It was mainly focused on concept art, and those trailers from the Pokemon Presents were live action. There was no live action in this trailer. It was all gameplay. And so I just want to talk about some of those trailers. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff within those trailers that I'm probably gonna miss, just because the trailers are pretty big, in terms of there's probably some Pokemon out there that a keen eye would see that's returning that I personally cannot see, but because I'm not looking like too in depth, like in the backgrounds and stuff. But I just want to talk about some of the new Pokemon and that they showed off, and then some of the things that we saw in the trailer. So let me get straight to that. Those Pokemon and everything. Okay, so I'm getting a lot of my information from Serebii, the awesome Pokemon news and information site. So I'm going to start off with the Teal Mask, because that was the first thing shown in the Direct in terms of this trailer. And we saw in-game models for the 4 Pokemon, Munkidori, Okidogi, Venusapiti, and Orcapon, which is really cool. They all looked really cool in-game. It seems like Orcapon is probably like the big legendary type Pokemon for this pack, and then the other three are smaller ones. But we saw in-game models for those. They all look really cool in-game. And then we saw a little bit more about what the story looked like for the Teal Mask, which is really cool. Um, you know, it pretty much described or showed what the description that was provided for what the Teal Mask would be. So we saw our characters in the the clothing that that is for the celebration that we're going to be a part of in the Teal Mask. We saw some new characters. I don't know if I can pull up those characters extremely fast because I feel like it's possible. Well, let's see, because let me see. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if Cerebi is updated with that information yet, but we did see a couple of the new characters, which are really awesome. And then we saw a little bit of story detail. Probably how the story will progress somewhat. We saw a couple of new locations. And then pretty much the same thing happened for the other DLC, the Indigo Disc. We saw the main legendary Terrapogus. It's a we saw the main new Pokemon for that DLC pack, and then we saw a bunch of we saw basically what the area looks like. We saw that we're going to the Blueberry Academy, and then saw a couple of new characters there. When I was reacting to it, my friend said that it looks more like the Safari Zone, and there was a lot of exploration going on in that trailer. Obviously, we probably won't know much about these DLCs until they release, and we still have the same dates that we had in from the Pokemon Presents. We still have the fall 2023 date for the first DLC pack, the Teal Mask, and we have still the winter 2023 date for the Indigo Disc. So there's nothing more new on that front, but we did also hear about a new event. I think they're doing raid events now for Gimmighoul, a shiny Gimmighoul, chest form, and there's a code out there now that you can redeem to get some additional items in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So, it was a big blowout for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's DLC. Obviously, I personally didn't think it would be here because I thought they would maybe have a Pokemon Presents later in the year, and it's still possible they do. The last 2 years they've had a Pokemon Presents in August, and with new trailers before then. So honestly, we could see the game, soon. We in a Pokemon Presents still, and that may be where we get more of a blowout about specific Pokemon and some of the details about the DLC. But that wasn't all that was Pokemon related in this Direct. We did also get the re-announcement or the re-reveal of of Detective Pikachu 2, or Detective Pikachu Returns, as it's now known. And we saw a lot of glimpses at the story. We saw Tim again. We obviously saw Detective Pikachu. We saw a bunch of Pokemon, throughout the games, and it is obviously a new game to a certain extent. I'm not necessarily sure if it's a fully new game, or maybe if they're building off some of the episodes that were from the first game. But we did see some new Pokemon that weren't in the original game, being Inteleon from Gen 8, and so that released before Detective Pikachu released. So yeah, we saw a good amount of story content for that game. We did get a release date, and that is October 6th. So it ends the official, 4 to 5 year wait that we've been having for that game since it was announced. I believe either in 2018's Pokemon, conference that they did, or the 2019 one. It might have been the 2019 one, or yeah, I think it was the 2019 one, because the 2018 one had Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Quest, or Pokemon Eevee and Pikachu and Eevee. But both these games look awesome. Obviously, the DLC looks great. In my opinion, I'm very excited for the DLC. We're getting new content for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and that's something I am very excited for. And then obviously Detective Pikachu 2, or Detective Pikachu Returns, as we now know it, does also look awesome. It has voice acting and everything like the first game. And I'm very hopeful that they built off that game and we're gonna get a bunch of new episodes. Maybe some new avenues to explore in those games. But yeah, that is all the Pokemon news that we did get from this Nintendo Direct. Which again was a lot more than I was expecting to see. I expected maybe we'd get like a mention of the DLCs, because obviously since they have been announced, Nintendo hadn't had a direct since then. So maybe you get a talk about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are still getting updates, and we still have a DLC releasing for them, but we did get full trailers, which is really awesome. And then we went on to a reel of mainly third-party games, or all third-party games, until the very end of it. So, and all of them looked really awesome. All the third-party games, a good amount of them I had not known about before, and I think some of them were also just new announcements, and that's obviously why I wouldn't know about them. But they all looked really cool. It's again, when it comes to Nintendo Directs, it's hard to pick out all the third-party games, but I will actually talk. I'll actually mention some of them now, just so they get the recognition that they deserve. So in this reel, we saw Sonic Superstars, which was revealed at the Game Awards, but Summer Game Fest, and then we saw a bunch of other smaller third-party games. We saw Palia, which is really cool. It looked really cool. We saw Persona 5 Tactica, which I was expecting beforehand that it would lead into a reveal for Persona 3 Reload, but we're not apparently getting that on the Nintendo Switch, which is fine. The only reason why I expected it was because of the rumors and like the leaks about the box art and everything, and some of the smaller details that people have noticed. It was in the trailers, or like the descriptions of the trailers. But again, it looked really cool. All the games looked really cool. And then we went on to find out about the new Splatfest in the Nintendo Direct. This Splatfest will go on from July 14th to July 16th, and the theme will be which flavor of ice cream you like the best, and the three choices are vanilla, strawberry, and mint chip. I really only eat from these choices vanilla ice cream, so if I were to play this Splatfest, that would be the one I choose. But obviously, I could be swayed just to choose the one that some of my friends are playing on. But obviously, we'll see when that happens. We still got around a month until this. Actually, we got about 3 weeks to 3.5 weeks until this Splatfest begins. So we still have a lot of time to choose. And then following that, we did get the reveal of Detective Pikachu 2, or the re-reveal. We saw a lot of gameplay clips. Some things that I felt like maybe referenced the first game. But I think this obviously is a new game, and I think we're going to get a good amount of new things within it. So, from this point forward, we did get pretty much the main things that I feel like will be remembered from this Direct. In like a matter of 4 minutes, we got, I think, the main things that will stick out to a lot of people. And the first thing was the Super Mario RPG Super Mario RPG remake. I know this game was leaked to a certain extent, and I think that's why, because I had heard about it from beforehand. Maybe that's why I wasn't as surprised to see it. I feel like if I wasn't kind of spoiled to that, I would have been a lot more excited in the moment for it. But it looked amazingly awesome. I'm very excited to do. And by the way, that probably is a lesson just to around the time of the Nintendo Directs, maybe stay off the internet for a little while, just so you try your best not to get leaked. Because this and the big announcement at the end were stupendously big. I'm not sure that's the right word, but they were really, really big. And I know a lot of people were leaked because due to that, due to the leak that was online. But anyways, we got the Super Mario RPG remake. It looks amazingly awesome. I'm so excited to finally be able to play through this game. I've never played through it before. And it looks great. I know there've been some changes that some people have already talked about that they've noticed. both on the box art and some of like the in-game from the trailer that we saw. But it looks amazingly awesome, and I'm so excited to play through it. Obviously, since I haven't played through it before, I can't like point out some of the things that like were noticeable. But obviously, I know about some of the characters like Mallow and Gino, and so I'm excited to finally meet their arcs and what makes a lot of people want them in like Super Smash Brothers and all that. What makes them so appealing to a lot of people. And then from that point forward, obviously we saw a lot of Super Mario RPG's remake, and it is releasing on November 17th, 2023. So at this point, I honestly thought this would be the holiday game, because that is a fairly late time to be releasing. That's normally the time that the Pokemon games release, and those are normally also Nintendo's holiday game. Major Black Friday release. So Super Mario RPG looks awesome. And then they were like, but we're not done with Mario just yet. We're not done with the Mario series. And then they revealed a new Peach game. In my reaction, I talked about, is this like a sequel to Super Princess Peach? I have the game. I haven't really played much through it. I heard it's not too good, but I don't think it'll be that, but they said it's a new Peach game. I've been seeing a lot of discussion about it on the internet. Maybe about why they didn't talk about it too much. I don't want to go too much into that, but I think that most games that we see in this direct, and I think most games on the Switch will be compatible or backwards compatible with whatever the next console for Nintendo will be. And so I think that makes. There's been some discussion about maybe if the new Peach game will be cross-platform or something in that way. I honestly don't think this game will be cross-platform, but I do think around the time that we hear about the next console, we'll probably see this game. If that's like in the next Nintendo Direct, that I'm feeling it will be in September. That's just an early thought because obviously we saw two games here from Nintendo that do not have release dates now, and we do obviously still have Metroid Prime 4. I'm rambling a little bit. I apologize, but obviously we got the Princess Peach game, and then they were like, we got one more game to show you all today in this segment, and that was the HD remaster, or I'm calling it an HD remaster of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. I'm actually fairly surprised that they're doing this. I honestly thought maybe they do a remake of Dark Moon like they did for Luigi's Mansion for the 3DS. But obviously, it's probably not too difficult because it's HD. They're HDifying it, and that's probably all they're mainly focusing on it. But it did also surprise me in the sense that they didn't like show a logo or anything. They just announced it outright, and they said it's coming out next year. I feel like that would have been like a good something. So I feel like there might be a little bit more to that game that they're not talking about. We got maybe at most about 20 to 30-second clips of both games. And then they said, look forward to more details about them in the future. So they're coming out both in 2024. That's all we pretty much know about it. The Peach game looks awesome. Dark Moon looks as amazing as it always has. And so, I have a little story about Dark Moon. I remember, since we're talking about Dark Moon, I don't know when the next time I'll be talking about Dark Moon again. If that, will be the next Nintendo Direct. For the longest time at GameStop, my local GameStop, I had Luigi's Mansion 2 pre-ordered. And it was maybe for like a year, but when I was younger, a year felt like a very long time. And so, I had it pre-ordered for, a year, maybe 2 years. I think I had it pre-ordered since they announced it. And so, like 6 months before it was released, I took off that pre-order. And then I forgot to pre-order it again. So, like, the day before, I had to, call GameStop and ask them if they had extra copies, and they did. So I was able to get it on release day. But that's just a small little story. Just to talk about it, I guess. But again, we got 2 new Mario series games revealed here, which is really awesome. Sub-series probably. But yeah, that is all we really know about that. And then we went on to another batch of Nintendo Switch headlines. So we got the Batman Arkham Collection revealed. We got, um, we got Haven, which looked really cool from the reveal. And then we got a bunch of, we got Just Dance. We got, I forgot what this game is called. Oh, we got Silent Hope, which looked really cool as well. And then, we got basically, normally we have like a montage or scissor reel stuff. We got somewhat of that here, and we just had, we went through a bunch of games like Fae Farm and this Hot Wheels game, which looked really cool. I was making a joke that, like, that's the F-Zero for this direct, because it looked interesting. It's a very fast racing game. And then we got some DLC. We got, other games, and then we got another look at the DLC for Mario Plus Rabbids. The next game that they showed off, and it's not first party, but they did give it a huge segment in the direct, and I'm assuming that's probably because it is a new game, and that is Dragon Quest Monsters. They talked about it and everything, so I think it's possible Nintendo may be publishing this game, and that's why, they're talking about it so much. But we got Dragon Quest Monsters, the Dark Prince. I'm not sure if it does have release date. So we got this game releasing on December 1st, 2023. So it's not that far away. It's less than a year away. It looked really cool. It looked awesome, actually. So I'm excited to see a lot more of it come before December 1st, 2023. And maybe a little bit after. I might wait to get it, just to see what other people are saying about it. And then just talk about it. And then, look into it. So from this point on, we basically got a look at Pikmin 4, which looks as amazing as ever. It looks really cool. I'm very excited for it. We're exactly a month away from it now. In terms of days, we'll be 4 weeks away from it on Friday. And yeah, Pikmin 4 looked awesome. They showed off the underground. They showed off what looked like a multiplayer. But I can't be too confident based on what they were talking about. Around that what I thought was the multiplayer, and which is called the Dandori battles. It looked like it was multiplayer, but the way that they introduced it, it seems like it's like a side game, to play through like against like a CPU, because they showed off like you can find the certain. I'm assuming they're probably like online, our user created characters. Like you can find them throughout the game, fainted, and you can like take them out and probably like revive them or help them recover. And then they showed off like a mystery character, like steal those. And I think a lot of people were saying that was Olimar. It looked like Olimar, but I don't want to be too thingy on that, because who knows? Maybe that isn't Olimar. That's Olimar's brother. For all we know, though that trailer a couple weeks ago did also like kind of tease that we would be finding a little bit more about, Olimar went and fell on a planet and we're coming to save him. But it looked awesome. We also found a little bit more about the night mode, and then we got a new Pikmin revealed, the Glow Pikmin, which looked really cool. Glow Pikmin. And then, we found out a little bit more about the nighttime mode, being able to traverse the Pikmin world for the first time in night. But yeah, that is pretty much, it looked all really cool. They teased this in at least they teased like the nighttime mode at the end of the second trailer for the game. And then we finally got a full-on in-depth about it. My prediction before we went into this direct would be that we would get a Pikmin 4 direct announced. We did not get that, but I feel like the information that they revealed probably would have been in that direct. So we'll probably just get trailers from here on out in that game. However, that wasn't the only Pikmin news in this direct. We did also get the reveal that Pikmin 1 and 2 will be coming to Nintendo Switch today. It's already released. And then a physical version is coming in September. They didn't talk about that in the direct, but that did come out a little bit after that. The physical version is available. It will become available in September. So all the Pikmin games now are on the Switch: Pikmin 1, Pikmin 2, and then Pikmin 3 Deluxe, and now Pikmin 4. All these all the main series games. I'm not sure if Hey Pikmin's a main series game, but that's not on Switch. So I guess not all Pikmin games are on Switch yet. And I guess Pikmin Bloom. And then finally, the last Pikmin piece of news that we got today was that in a week from now, on June 28th, we will be receiving a demo version of Pikmin 4. Just to play through the game. Maybe there'll be some, ability to like send over some of the things that you do in the game over to the main game. But that's that. So we got our last batch of headlines from this point forward, and in that batch, we saw the reveal that the Metal Gear Collection Volume 1 will be coming to Switch. That features a plethora of different Metal Gear games, and goodies within the game. And then we got Vampire Survivors coming to Switch. We got a really cool looking rhythm game, that kinda, maybe give some reminiscent thoughts of Rhythm Heaven, even though obviously it is Rhythm Heaven, but it looked really cool. It features a lot of birds, because it's called Headbangers Rhythm Royale with the bird in the logo. And then we've got a game that is being created by, or worked on by, the Sonic Mania team called Penny's Big Breakaway, which is also being published by Private Division, and it looked really awesome. I have like a photo of stuff that really I liked during the direct, and this did make it on it, because I'm fairly excited to see how this game turns out, because I do want to play it, but it is an early 2024 game. And then we got another piece of Nintendo first-party news in terms of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, DLC. It looked really awesome. The new course, Squeaky Clean Sprint, looked really cool. They did the same thing that they did in the February Direct, where they revealed, the course. We saw a little bit of it, and then they revealed, instead of one character, 3 new characters, being PD Piranha, Wiggler, and Kamek will be coming to the game. And we don't have a date for it yet. It still is slotted for summer of 2023. But I assume we're probably going to find out, the release date within the next week or so. And it'll probably release in the next 2 or 3 weeks. Right after Pikmin 4 releases. Probably before it, because I feel like they wouldn't have shown off all this if it wasn't, close to release. Even though this obviously is the last Nintendo Direct until probably the fall in September. So I don't know when else they would have shown it off, but they showed it off pretty early if it isn't coming out before Pikmin 4. And then we got a remake of Star Ocean. Let me get the actual full-on name. Star Ocean: The Second Story R. And it looked really cool. I think this is a remake based on what they said about it, and it is a 2D HD or HD 2D remake. Looked really cool. It is coming on September 2nd, 2023. So, very excited to see how that game also turns out. And then from here on out, we had mainly just first-party stuff. Going forward, we got a new WarioWare game called WarioWare Move It, which looked really awesome. I'm very excited for it. I really liked WarioWare Get Together, so that game. Obviously, and I think this is a pseudo sequel to WarioWare Smooth Moves, which is also fairly cool, or very cool. So there's a lot of motion controls in it. I feel like this took the slot of what would have been a look at. Well, actually, it probably didn't take the slot, but this probably is like, they had to make a decision between everybody 1-2 Switch appearing in this direct and WarioWare Move It appearing in this direct. They probably, felt like, WarioWare is probably more appealing to show off. And with that, we did not see anything from everybody 1-2 Switch in this direct. Which I feel like was expected based on the video they released yesterday. We also didn't see any Baten Kaitos news in this direct, because they released a trailer 2 days ago for that game, revealing that it's going to be releasing in September. And then from that point forward, we before I forget, WarioWare Move It is releasing also on November 3rd, 2023. So we have a very packed couple of weeks coming up in that, that general direction in October and November, because at the end of the direct, they revealed, obviously they talked about Nintendo Live 2023, which you can pre-register if you want to try to get tickets for it right now. and then you can pre-register until tomorrow, I believe. And then they talked about the tournaments there. They talked about Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. We didn't see any Tears of the Kingdom DLC, but we did see the reveal of both the new Zelda amiibo and the new Ganondorf amiibo, and those will be available in holiday of 2023, probably soonish, around November, December, within that time frame. Alongside, many of the games that we have already talked about. And then the final game that they revealed today was the new 2D Mario, which looks amazingly awesome. Again, as I was referring to earlier, this and the Super Mario RPG game remake leaked a couple of days ago, so I know that might have made it a little more expected. I feel like if this didn't leak, then it would have gotten such a big reaction, both in my reaction and probably in some other people's reactions. But this game did look amazing. I'm so excited to play through it. It's a totally new art style. It moved away from the new Super Mario Brothers art style. We got to look at a couple of Goombas. We got to look at the piranha plants. We got to look at the general way that the game would look. We got a new power up in the it seems like it's like a disorienting flower that like changes the way that the world looks and how you interact with it. We saw some pipes bending around so you can get to certain areas better. We saw that you can go up and down. You can change the height of some of the some of the aspects of the world. It is interesting that there is two different types of and this is something I'm just realizing. There's two different types of currency. There's a gold coin currency and then a purple coin type currency, which looks really interesting. That's something we kind of saw in Super Mario Odyssey. So I'm not saying, maybe this game is kind of to Super Mario Odyssey. Maybe it is. Who knows? There is lives in this game. So, everything, we're probably going to find out a little bit more at this game. It is called Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which is really interesting. There's a lot of things I guess to think and ponder about with this game. The main collectible, it appears to be, is a Wonder Seed, and on the stage that they showed in the game, there's two. I'm not sure if there'll be more than two, depending on the stage you're on, or maybe less than two. And then the other things they revealed about it is that the playable characters will be Mario, Luigi, Peach, Yellow Toad, and Daisy. And there was a segment with Yoshi's. I'm assuming that's probably you can ride the Yoshis. Obviously, it was really cool because I know a lot of people probably want to have Daisy playable. So, playable Daisy. And then, we saw. I think we saw a couple of the enemies, new enemies in terms of, overworld enemies as well as bosses. And then we saw the game will be releasing on October 20th 2023, with the final reveal of the game being that there is an power-up that turns at least Mario. I don't know if it turns other characters into, but it turns Mario into an elephant, which is really interesting. And I know that's the image of that. All the Nintendo accounts posted immediately after, I guess because it's kind of funny. But that is pretty much everything from the Nintendo Direct. It all looked really awesome. I'm so excited to see to hear more about these games. These games look awesome. I'm just to talk about what the rest of the year Nintendo looked like. Just yesterday, we only knew what what Nintendo's year looked like up until July, and now we know what Nintendo's year looks like into even 2024 with the new Peach and remake or remaster of Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the new Peach game, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon HD remaster, and some of the third-party games, I'm assuming. But with that, we have a pretty solid amount of Nintendo content going into this year, into a possible September Direct where they talk about obviously the Luigi's Mansion game and the new Peach game, and maybe I don't know. I feel like there's something to be said that maybe they will reveal the new console this year. I feel like with the new Mario, 2D Mario, they probably won't do that. Like if they didn't have a new 2D Mario or the Super Mario RPG remake releasing this year, maybe because they probably wouldn't be gearing up for like a major holiday season. So they, you know, they wouldn't lose much from announcing a new console. But now that they have, you know, major games that are going to be system sellers, especially with the Mario movie this year, I feel like it's it's less likely now than it was yesterday that they'll release a console, or they would not release it. I don't think it's going to release anyways, but at least announce it this year. I think we're going to start hearing rumblings of it, but I don't think we're going to see it announced until maybe early next year for either a summer or 2020, late 2024, or I guess holiday 2024 release date. Um, but yeah, that is everything that was most things that were in Nintendo Direct. Um, I heard that there was some other things in the Japanese Nintendo Direct that aired. Like they gave a release date to Fashion Dreamer. So you know, there's obviously other things out there that the Western Direct didn't air. Maybe because you know those games will appear in a future Nintendo Direct, or they got you know for like the Western audience, or maybe like Nintendo just had too much to show off in these directs. Who knows? But yeah, that is everything that I have. That is all I have for you all today. So I hope you all obviously enjoyed the Nintendo Direct. It was superb in my opinion. You know, if I had to give it like a grade, it would be an A. I think it is the best Nintendo Direct that we've had since E3 2021. You know, just with the amount of announcements we had and like how big the announcements were, I think you know this matches. And you know what's crazy? The E3 2021 Direct had WarioWare. This one has WarioWare. You know, maybe WarioWare is the connective tissue to making a good Nintendo Direct. The Smash Direct in 2018, that revealed Smash Brothers Ultimate, had WarioWare Gold in it. So you know, maybe there's something correlating between having a good WarioWare, having a WarioWare and an amazing Nintendo Direct in it. But yeah, that is all I have for you all today. I will continue to, you know, obviously, I do plan to make a video later on in the summer talking about, you know, Nintendo's, you know, not future, but, you know, now that we have a lot of announcements for Nintendo, you know, what the rest of the year and what maybe like what the year looks like from this June to next June. You know, if we are gonna get another Nintendo Direct, general in September, or maybe we get a mini or something. But until next time, I hope you all do what makes you happy, because that rhymes to generic happy. Make sure to leave a comment down below talking about like what your favorite game announcement from this Nintendo Direct was, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.